Montana is not the Montana it was 20 years ago.
The state is on fire in terms of popularity and economic growth, and recreational use of all of our resources is increasing everywhere.
At some point, the resources get affected, and for the most part, we don't know where that is. Is there a need at some point to limit the overall use of the Madison? And I think there is.
It has to be all of us. It can't just be one segment of us. It can't be those of us that are commercial, just us. It has to be all of us. My name is Julie Eaton. I've been fishing the Madison for over 28 years, guiding 24 years. I grew up fishing in upstate New York and north central Pennsylvania with my dad, and he also was a charter captain, so I had some experience with the commercial side of the fishing world. But Montana was always something that my husband Chris and my dad and I thought we really need to get to know this a little bit better. One year I saved up, I was a high school biology teacher, saved up my teacher pay, and that very next year I had quit teaching in Colorado and bought a boat. I said, okay, let's go. Is she left side in this channel? Yeah. Okay. By the fence?
I'm Josh Eaton, and I've been living in the Madison Down Valleys for 20 years and counting. I've been a guide for, this will be my 4th year. You know, I've been out here 20 years, but obviously I've been fishing very hard when I was, between the ages of 1 and 10. I just think there's a lot you have to think of when you compare 20 years ago to today.
What can we realistically expect on our rivers, or what do we want? We can't go back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, but what we can do is manage people's expectations. And their feel for that is different than ours. They're here for the first time. Montana has this mystique. The river runs through it, this very pristine, no one's here. Well, the Madison has been a popular fishery, a blue ribbon, everyone knows about it since the 50s.
My name is Joe Dilschneider, and I'm an outfitter, guide, and fly shop owner here in Ennis, Montana. Well, it all started at the same time I moved to Ennis in the winter of '94-'95, and basically came here because of the Madison and because of my love of fly fishing in this river. I don't think there's any disputing it that the amount of recreational use on the Madison River has really done nothing but increase year over year. If that use continued to increase unabated, at some point there will be a day when it will negatively impact the resource. Too many people.
My name is Travis Horton. I'm the Regional Fisheries Manager for Southwest Montana. I would say the Madison River probably has the most data in the country on social issues. There's 180,000 angler days, and that's increasing pretty rapidly each year. If you look at how that's broken down, about 85% of that use is non-resident. And the majority of non-resident, non-commercial users are fishing in the walkway reaches. The fish populations are doing well. They had the dip in the 1990s from the whirling disease impacts, but they've recovered. The level of use really becomes a social concern at this point more than a biological concern.
So I think it is time to address the increased recreational use before we start to see negative impacts to the resource or further negative impacts to the user experience. And that's really what's brought us to where we are today. Is there's some people that are dissatisfied and have been displaced, and their experience has been degraded by more people out there.
So really what we're talking about is sociology, and that's what has brought the impact or these rules to these other rivers and then to the Madison. It's sociology.
It honestly probably could back up a little bit and be a better quality experience for folks and still have the same economic drivers of coming in. One of the sort of difficulties of recreation management from the fisheries division is it tends to be piecemeal. We're reactive to where there's a problem instead of proactive.
One could also look at this and say this should have been done 20 years ago, some sort of recreation management plan on the Madison, or 30 years ago. The state is on fire in terms of popularity and economic growth, and recreational use of all of our resources is increasing everywhere. And I think the Madison is sort of ground zero right now, especially for the fishing related stuff. And what happens here is probably going to have an impact on the rest of the state.
You know, the big picture within Montana is it's going to continue to go up. Numbers are going to go up. And at some point, the resources get affected. And for the most part, we don't know where that is. Is there a need at some point to limit the overall use of the Madison? And I think there is.
There's got to be a way to let people know how we take care of this. It has to be all of us. It can't just be one segment of us. It can't be those of us that are commercial, just us. It has to be all of us. We have to somehow figure out how to ensure the quality.
If that leads to less boats, I don't know. I'm not an expert on the river's ecology and the future of the river's ecology, but I think it's important to research that because I want to share this resource for more generations.
Depending on how it gets managed, that could impact whether Josh can keep the business going if he chooses to.
The Madison River is everything to me. I don't just work on that river. I go out there all the time on my own, with my dogs, with my family, my children. It's more special and important to me than I can really even, verbalize or say. You could take away my right to work on this river, but I'll keep fishing it for the rest of my life.